Hi y'all, Kraken Latte here. Here's the new 1 to 50 leveling guide as promised. This is a close look at how I'll be leveling my alts, so I'll be walking you through each part from prep to finish. As a quick disclaimer, this is not for players who are totally new to the game. This guide relies on items and zones that new players will not have access to. You're considered a veteran by Blizzard if you've leveled at least one character to max, and that means you can then use the route in this guide. For those of you who have seen my old guides or have been playing since at least Battle for Azeroth, you'll know that the leveling system has changed. The entire 1 to 50 experience now scales dynamically as one whole unit rather than being separated into static chunks by expansion. This means that if you level through a zone and go from 20 to 28, and then do that same zone on another character in the 30s, you will not get the same 8 levels. So, the zones in this guide are best used in the order presented. If done out of order or in a different level range, you'll notice the results will change drastically, and you could actually come up a few levels short at the end. Weird, right? But before we get into the specific route, let's look at the preparation you need to do first. First, add-ons. I don't use anything super fancy, but there are at least 4 I recommend you get. 1. Auto Turn-In. This add-on lets you auto-accept and auto-turn-in quests to help speed things up. It even has nice looting options and includes dailies. 2. Cinematic Canceller. This does exactly what the name suggests. It cancels cinematics and cutscenes so you don't have to watch them. 3. Silver Dragon. This is a rare detection add-on that will show little skulls on your maps for spawn points as well as warning you when one is near. And 4. TomTom. This add-on lets you use waypoints. While I only use waypoints once in this guide, it's still super handy outside of leveling too. Next are heirlooms and the map toys. I highly recommend you get yourself a full set if you don't already have it, and make sure it's fully leveled. Wearing these will give you access to the set bonuses they have, and they also will scale all the way to 50 as you level, so you don't need to worry much about replacing gear from the quests. The map toys are for Kalimdor and the Eastern Kingdoms, and these can be bought on the same vendor who sells the heirlooms. They're a bit pricey, but they are account-wide and usable by any level as toys, so I recommend them. If you only have enough gold for one of them, buy the one that has Azeroth in the name, since that's the one we'll need for this guide. Alright, that's what you need to know to get started, so let's dive into the actual route. First, here's the whole route in list form along with the expected times and level results. Looks pretty simple, right? Well, it is. But I want you to keep in mind that these times come with experience and familiarity of the zones. Your times will vary based on your own experiences. That's partly why I have a range for you here, which has the highest and lowest times I've received in each area. First up, Exile's Reach. If you're starting as an allied race, a Death Knight, or a Demon Hunter, that means you can skip this step. I've made the time bar on this video into timestamps for all of you, so you can refer back to the parts you need later. For all of you who are starting as level 1 base races, Exile's Reach is your go-to. You can select this in the very beginning right after you've created your new character. This zone is extremely straightforward and all you need to do is follow the quest chain. So, put on your heirlooms, get that heirloom bike on your bar if you have it, and make sure you do everything, including the 2 optional quests of the Light Elemental and the Elite Bear, because once you leave, you can't return. This all should only take you about 30 minutes. You will leave at level 10, but more specifically, you'll be part way into the next level, which is a nice little boost that you'll get over the allied race characters. Once you've completed Exile's Reach and you stand at the city gates, make sure you skip the tour. You don't need it, and it will lock you into doing the BFA intro afterwards, so don't do that. We'll need that XP later. Auto Turn-In will try to accept the quest, so if you do, it's fine. Just delete it, set the add-ons option to dailies, and then decline the tour. Change the add-on back to all, and you're good to go. Now, it's time to get yourself prepped. Here's your to-do list. Allied races, Demon Hunters, and Death Knights should also pick up at this point, since you'll all be in the same level range. First, pick up your first riding license. If you're an allied race, Death Knight, or Demon Hunter, you'll already have this. Then buy some bags, preferably at least 4 of the largest size. Then grab a stack of Goblin Gliders, and at least 1 stack of Potion of Deep Home. Then, if you are able to, buy the Wrap of Unity from your guild's vendor. If you can't buy this one, since it's rep-based, don't worry about it. And don't worry about setting your hearth. We're going to be changing that in the next zone. I also recommend you pick up a comfortable Rider's Barding mount equipment, since this item will prevent you from getting dismounted by NPCs. And lastly, if you want to pick up Herbalism and Mining, now's the time to do so. With all that taken care of, now head over to Chromie and set your time to Legion. As a tip, any of these will set all non-current expansion zones to scale to level 50, regardless of where you choose to level. For this case, we want Legion because we actually get this sweet 2-hour hearth straight to the capital city. You'll want this. Now ride over to the nearest call board and pick up Tanan Jungle. Make sure you do the Legion from Chromie and the Tanan from the call board in that order, or one will override the other and you'll lose that temporary Hearthstone you got for Legion. Now, you are ready to begin the journey. Here's where you're going to use the flight point map I mentioned. Use at least the Azeroth one, then go talk to the Flight Master and choose Val'sharah in Loch Modan. That map is nice so we can fly straight to the zone without having to go to Ironforge. Once you're there in Loch Modan, ride over to the Lost Pilot quest, which you can see on the map, and simply follow the zone's quest chains where they take you. There's no secret pathing here as the zone is actually quite linear. Make sure you start at this quest and not in Val'sharah, which you can do, or you'll be short a couple levels by the end. That said, there are 6 Explorer's Quest documents that you'll want to pick up as you find them. The waypoints for them are on screen here and in the description, but you should run across them since they all overlap with quests. There's 6 total and these are vital to getting what you need out of the zone. They give a lot of XP, so please, don't skip them. This zone also has rares that give decent XP. If you happen to see one, go ahead and get it. Don't worry about getting all of them or feel like you need to go out of your way though, they aren't crucial to completing the zone. When you reach the Farstrider's Lodge area, set your hearth here. Quest until you hit level 20 and then use that special Legion Hearthstone to go back to Stormwind. Pick up your level 20 writing and also turn on War Mode. I highly recommend you turn on War Mode since Alliance often has greater than 10%. Make sure to pick your War Mode talents too since those are useful and some can give passive heals. Once you've done that, hearth back to Farstrider and finish the zone. Remember to turn in the Explorer's quests at the end and you will be level 23 or higher. All that should have taken between 80 and 100 minutes. Then, this is when you'll want to use that Wrap of Unity you hopefully were able to buy so you can go back to Stormwind. If you didn't, that's okay, just take the flight point back down. It's only a few minutes anyways. Remember how we picked up the Tanan Jungle quest from the call board? Make sure you still have that and then go to the Mage District. Make sure to set your hearth to the Trade District along the way since you might want that later. Talk to the Mage Vanguard NPC in the Mage Tower in the Mage District, and then port to the Blasted Lands. Now make your way over to Khadgar. I find the orcs here are a real pain since they stun you in place regardless of the mount equipment, and they hit really hard, so you can die if you just run through them all, which I have done. So, to avoid them, I like to ride past the Horde camp, climb up onto this little mountain here, and then glider down to Khadgar. Don't get too close to the Horde camp either though, they get grumpy. Make sure you still have that quest and then talk to Khadgar. Do the introduction scenario. It's linear and straightforward, so there's nothing special to cover here, and this should take you only about 30 minutes. After the scenario, now you're going to set up your garrison. Even if you never plan to come back, you'll want the XP and the Hearthstone is nice. Once it's built, don't stop yet. There's still more to do. Pick up quests from Barrows and Maraud as well as the 4 treasures buried by Pippers. Also make sure to get the egg next to the resources for the quest, and the treasure just outside of the garrison in a pond where the fishing shack will be later. Pippers, that sneaky pug, has buried supplies in front of the garrison by a nearby tree, 2 behind buildings inside the small garrison, and then 1 by the stone grave thing near Shelley and Bodrick. Watch the screen for this if that sounds confusing because I'm showing you where to get all of them. Once you got all of those, also pick up the Gorgrond quest from Bodrick Gray, who was by Shelley, and continue doing the other quests you pick up that are specific for the garrison. Don't bother with the quests that want to send you to other zones. When you go down to the shoreline for the quests, there are 3 treasures you want to get here as well. One is under the large ship you came in on, one is inside the cave with the pale orc things, and one is a fish barrel in the middle of the water area here on a tiny little island. The reason we're getting these is not just for XP, but for the resources. In case you don't hit 30 after all these quests, you will want to get your garrison to rank 2 in order to unlock even more quests that will get you to 30. Rank 2 only requires 200 resources and no gold, which is easy since we have so many treasures nearby. We are also trying to avoid doing that Gorgrond quest because we will want that at much later levels. So keep that quest, but don't do it for now. In addition to that, as soon as you hit level 30, stop. Don't turn in any more quests even if they are complete. Save all the quests you have because we will use them later. Trust me on this. Anyways, when you've done those and if you're still not 30, continue the garrison quests up until you're given the quest to head to Ashran, which is picked up after you do a quick mission table quest. Don't worry about that just yet, save it too. Now you should have at least 200 resources after all those treasures. The loot from each is technically random, so if you don't, and you're sure you've looted all of them, then you'll have to loot other treasures around Shadowmoon until you do. However, this is very unlikely as I have not run into this issue myself, and I have done this many, many times. Regardless, with 200 resources in hand, upgrade your garrison to rank 2. Now, if you still need to hit level 30, there are 3 more quests for you. Head inside and to the right and pick up the quests for your herb garden and mines. Do those, and if you still need a bit more, go over to the fishing shack, learn fishing from the trainer there if you don't know it, and pick up that quest. Now, if you still need even more for some weird reason, do that Ashran quest that you have. But I want to remind you, when you hit 30, stop. The more we can save now, the faster your later levels will be, I promise. Now all of these instructions probably sounded a little crazy, but it actually should only take you between 10 and 15 minutes, because it's just a go here and do that sort of thing. Really quick. So, when you're finally 30, head back to Stormwind, pick up your flying, and track that Legion quest. We're going to the Broken Isles. When you talk to the NPC at the docks, skip the Legion intro. If for some reason you've never done the Legion intro, maybe because you're new, you'll have to do it. Otherwise, you should see a skip option. Skip it. The scenario gives no XP and is quite difficult since it's meant for a raid group and you'll likely be there solo or maybe with 1 or 2 people. Once in Dalaran, turn in the quest for the Hearthstone and then fly to Lorlathil and Val'sharah. No, not with the Flight Master, he won't have a flight point for you. I mean with your slow granny speed bum. Don't be sad though, even though it takes about 5 minutes to fly there, you actually get about 20% of a level just from the exploration XP since you're covering a lot of zones. So, that's cool. The quest you're aiming for is visible on the map and you can set a pin there if that helps you. Once there, talk to Malfurion and begin the Val'sharah quests. This zone is only semi-linear and has small clusters between the main storyline that can be done in various orders. I like to have a certain order though, so here's the route I like to take. First, here's a look of the route as a whole. You can screenshot this if you like, but I'll walk you through it as well. Once you get the 3 Archdruid quests, we're going to fly up to the Archdruid of Lore and do those first. This is where you'll run into the first bonus objective as well. Legion's bonus objectives, unlike all the other expansions so far, intersect directly with the quests, and you'll be partly doing them anyways just by questing there. So, you're going to want to do them all as you come across them. They're far easier than the other expansions in my opinion, and take very little time to do. With the Archdruid of Lore quests and the Harpy bonus objective done, now we'll fly down to the Archdruid of the Claw. Do all of those there. With those done, we're taking a detour before we head to the Archdruid of the Vale. In the Lunar Wing Shallows, there is a bonus objective with all those nasty little sprites, as well as a few quests. Do all of those. Then we're going to head down to the Lost Light Grotto. It's not marked very clear on the map, so I remember where it is by these little ridges here on the southern road. They look like a little dragon head to me. There's a moonwell there and some quests. So do all those and make sure to pick up the one from the Melting Dryad down inside, as well as looting all the boomkin for an additional drop quest. When that area is done, now fly over to Grizzleweald. This area sits under the V in the Vale on the eastern side of the map. Pick up the quests from the Furbolg as well as the Grizzlecomb and then do all of that. Now we'll go to the Archdruid of the Vale. It gets a lot more linear from here. Do all of those quests as well as the bonus objective and just keep following the quest chains like normal. There's also a bonus objective at the Temple of Elune, so you want to do that when you get to that point. Fast forwarding to when you reach Andutala after the Harpies area in Shadowfen, you'll be following Tyrande. This is still linear, but I have a couple tricks for you. The first time she asks you to follow her on Malfurion's trail, just keep going past poor Elithir here and right into a bonus objective. You can do the whole thing while she's catching up. Don't worry, it still counts even though you're good distance from her. Then come back and do the next chain of quests. You can do the same thing again after you turn in the back quest, then where she wants you to follow her again. You can start the bonus objective while waiting for her. Once she wants you to find Malfurion though, poke him and then keep clicking on things for the bonus objective along the way to each fake Malfurion. Make sure you finish the bonus objective before you turn in the quest at the end, because she's going to take off with you. After putting poor Ysera out of her misery, grab the quest from the dead human on the road nearby and head down to Bradensbrook. Do everything here as well as the bonus objective that overlaps with the Blackrock Hold quests. By the end of it, you should be level 38 or more, and that should have taken you between 70 and 90 minutes. Now it's time to move on. We're done with Val'sharah, so we're going to fly to Highmountain. You'll see the Keepers of the Hammer quest on the map right next to the Sylvan Falls flight point. Flying there only takes a couple of minutes. Pick up that quest and then fly to Thunder Totem. Once you reach it, set your hearth here before heading down to talk to Mela. Then, just follow the quests like normal, doing any bonus objectives that show up along the way. It's fairly linear at this point. You'll hit 40 fairly quickly, and when you do, use a Deep Home Potion or your Wrap of Unity to go back and pick up your level 40 flight license. I recommend you do this as soon as you hit 40, as it will speed up your travel by a lot. Hearth back to Thunder Totem and continue until you are given the quest to talk with Ebonhorn and the other two tribes. Do Ebonhorn first, and now I'm going to give you my route, since this zone is similar to Val'sharah at this point. Here's what that route looks like on the map, but like before, I'll walk you through it. I'm gonna rocket through this, so hang on tight. First, buy the bottle of Air Spark, then go pick up the tears from the river, then fly up and do the quests at the bridge. Do all that, and then go get the Dark Shard Crystal. Now fly directly north and do the Harpy bonus objective in the Screeching Crag as well as the quest there. The Harpy for the quest also counts for the bonus objective when you kill her. Oh, and you can just click on the totems while you're mounted, by the way. A common thing I'm sure you've noticed by now in the Broken Isles, so I just do that since I'm lazy. With all those done, now fly over to the Skyhorn tribe. Turn in and pick up that next quest, but keep going past it and then down behind it. There's actually some Kobold quests you need to do. Do that whole chain. As a note, I wish we could keep Jackie as a friend. I really like her. Now with all that done, get out of that rat hole and then fly over to the quest that you had picked up from Skyhorn and continue all that. Do the bonus objective with, is you guessed it, more harpies, and free all the eagles. Before continuing to Lasan though, dip left into the cave right before him and wait for a Tarn to phase in at the entrance. Do all of his quests, and then you can continue with Lasan. When you reach the end of Lasan's quests and kill the Harpy Queen, don't ride his eagle. Go past him and fly down to the Blood Totem tribe. Do all of those quests as well as yet another Harpy bonus objective, and follow that linear chain all the way through with Navarag and such. Make sure you do the bonus objective that pops up near where you need to kill Torok Blood Totem as well. I'm pointing all these out so you don't miss them. Torok also counts toward that bonus objective, so you can kill him at like 80 or 90, and the guys around him to finish it. Now it's time for the Stone Dark quests. Fly over and do all of those. If you happen to see Dude Brawl in there, give him a fist bump. Don't leave a bro hanging. After all of those, go back outside and fly north and down into the northernmost flight point in the marshes. There's still more quests here. Do everything here, including the bonus objective with, shockingly, not harpies. As a tip, when you get to the quest that turns you into Murky, you can actually exit him and just kill the clackers yourself. It's way faster in my opinion. As a note, if you happen to be here during an invasion, a Legion invasion, the Murlocs get changed into Fel Murlocs, and the boxes disappear, preventing you from completing the bonus objective. You can still do all the quests though, you'll just have to skip the bonus objective part. When all of those are done, now it's time to hearth back to Thunder Totem. Once there, now fly down and talk to Lasan, and then Navarag, and then go inside. Turn in Ebonhorn's quest and wait. Don't do anything yet. Wait until both tribe quests complete. Lasan is really slow, so give him a minute to start his stuff. When those complete themselves, now go in and do the Holden scenario. After that, turn in all your quests and pick up the new one nearby that wants you to collect drums. There's 2 drums down inside here, so get those and then go outside. Instead of finishing it though, fly northwest to Nissingwary. Do all the quests he has, and when you get to the one to talk to Addie to bring her along with you, don't forget to talk to her before you continue. Good grief, I can't count the times I just picked everything up, did all the quests, and forgot about her. Her quest requires you to kill everything even beyond what you need for the other quests to complete her training, so by the light please don't forget, or you'll have to basically do everything over again. When you turn that first wave of quests in, you'll get 3 more quests. 2 of them are marked as party quests, and you can actually skip those. The elites for that are quite beefy and take a good few minutes to kill even if you can solo them, so don't bother unless you really want to. The one to kill Irewing, though, is easy. Do that one and then pick up the next quest from Nissingwary. Now head back to Thunder Totem and continue the Drums quest. Also pick up the quest that wants you to return 3 moose. The only 2 quests I don't do here are the Bolas one and the one for the Old Lady Taran. Those 2 drive me nuts. Finish the Drums one and the Moose Rescue and then turn in the Moose Rescue. Then continue on to Ebonhorn. We'll turn in the Drums later. Now do that entire quest chain, including the bonus objective down inside Neltharin's lair, and then hearth back to Thunder Totem at the very end. Turn in that quest and the Drums, and then move on to Snowblind Mesa. Partway through the Snowblind Mesa quest, you'll come across worms, the big worms. When you get those killed, or almost killed, hop over to the ridge and do that quest you got from Nissingwary. Then after you do those 3, finish the other quests in that area and continue. The rest of this chain is linear with no special tips, so congrats! That's Highmountain. You should be level 46 or higher, and that should have taken you between 105 and 125 minutes. It's okay if it took you longer, this zone takes some practice. Now, use your Dalaran Hearthstone and go turn in that tier of Elune from Val'sharah. It doesn't give much, but you might as well. Also go chat with Khadgar real quick to unlock the world quests for Legion. It's good to do that while you're here so you don't forget later. And since you're here, you don't have to use your Hearthstone, you can just take the portal back to your main city. Here in Stormwind, go to a call board and pick up the quest from the guard standing by it. This starts the BFA intro. After the meeting and you meet Jaina by the docks, don't skip the scenario. The Alliance scenario is short, easy, and will actually give double the XP of what the skip version will, so don't skip it. I know it's tempting. As a word of caution, when you reach the part at the end of the scenario where you need to ride the boat to Kul Tiras, pause and turn off the Cinematic Canceller add-on. Since 9.1, skipping this cinematic causes you to just stay in the boat, and you just keep going and going, unable to move until you die of fatigue. Yeah, so just watch the cinematic. You can turn it back on later when you're waiting for Cyrus to talk. All that should only take you between 10 and 15 minutes. After that little intro is done, now grab the quest from Gen Greymane and go talk to Wormbane. You can ignore the Resources quest and just do the Footholds. You can do these in any order, but I like to do Zuldazar, Nazmir, and Vol'dun. These are a lot longer than the Horde ones, so expect to finish all those between 40 and 50 minutes total. The intro plus the Footholds will be that 50 to 70 minutes you saw in the introduction to this guide. Now, if you're lucky, you'll be level 50 by the end of all that. But it's possible you aren't. Now you're in the floating level. You may be almost there or just barely 49. It's okay. Either way, remember all that garrison stuff you did to get to 30? We're going to use the rest of that now. Use that garrison hearth you got to get back to Draenor, and let's think for a moment. What you do in this part will vary depending on how much you had to do to hit 30. So, you've got some options. Do you have any garrison quests left? You've also still got the Gorgrond intro, as well as this place on the list called the Crimson Fen if you need it. And you may still have that Ashran quest if you didn't have to do it. So, here's what to do. If you still have garrison quests left that include the herb garden, the mines, the fishing shack one, do all those first. And if you're still not 50 after that, now go do the Ashran ones if you didn't need it before. If you used it to get to 30, that's okay, we've got other things. Because whether you already did that to hit level 30 or you just now did it and you still aren't 50, go talk to the nearest flight master and go do that Gorgrond quest. This does work from both your garrison and Ashran, so you're good. Then, do the Gorgrond intro up until you choose your outpost type. I recommend the sparring arena since that one's easier, though we likely won't be questing in that stuff. Now, if you still aren't 50, talk to Rangari Dakan, this Draenei NPC here, and then go do the Crimson Fen quests, if you couldn't guess, in all the big red mushroom area. That little area is actually the best chain in Gorgrond, like XP to time wise, believe it or not. Now, you should be level 50. If you're not for some weird reason, or you chose not to use war mode, well, you've got the rest of Gorgrond at your disposal, so have at it. And now, at long last, you're level 50. Congrats! Woo! You did it! That wasn't too bad now, was it? Far better than it used to be. Even though it doesn't look like it, months and months of work went into making this guide. And if you'd like to see the results for all the zones in the game that helped shape this guide, check out my 1 to 50 research playlist. I've also done a 1 to 50 guide for the other faction, so check that out too. Now that you're level 50, it's time to get to level 60. That's a whole other adventure for another video though, so stay tuned for that guide. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, it's never too latte. This is the part where I ask you to like, comment, and subscribe. Doing at least one of those gets my videos recommended more. The higher these numbers are, the more YouTube likes me, and that helps me bring you more coffee-fueled content. I thank you so much for any support you choose to give.